In a previous presentation, I discussed the importance of research critique as an integral part of the process of research. In the current presentation, I would like to discuss the research critique of the first important part of a research report, that is the introduction or the chapter 1 generally if it is a research thesis. So first let us have a review of what a research critique is. A research critique basically is, as I said in the beginning, is an integral part of the research process as a scientific method of knowledge. And therefore, a research critique is an appraisal of the aims, the process, and outcomes of a research undertaking. The research critique generally focuses on an objective analysis of the academic value of, of a research project. Generally, what happens is that research critique explores the possible strengths and weaknesses of a research report, and the aim is at an objective analysis of the research report in order to highlight its academic standing and its academic value. Now, as I said in the beginning, a research report generally has different sections. So in this presentation, we will focus on the first important section of the research report, that is generally called the introduction section in shorter reports, and in longer reports such as research theses, it is called as the introduction and background chapter or chapter 1. So generally this chapter consists of the 4 main subsections. The first one is called the background. The second one is the rationale and significance. Then there is the problem statement or purpose statement of the particular research. And lastly, the research questions or hypotheses and research objectives. So these are important components of the introduction chapter or chapter 1. And the research critique, the process of the research critique need to focus on these sections and critically look at these and highlight the possible strengths and weaknesses in these sections. So now here are some questions that can actually help us in developing a good research critique of the introduction chapter or the chapter 1. The first one related to the subsection of the background or introduction, we can ask is as research critics, we can ask some of the important questions that can help us in locating the quality of the research report and its strengths and possible weaknesses. So the first one is the introduction or background adequate? Is it that the researcher or the one who has written the report has given adequate, proper, and comprehensive background to the research topic so that the reader can have a good understanding of the background of the research? Secondly, have the main concepts and theories been introduced concisely? So as we know that generally a chapter has a limit of words, so it is important that the writer or the researcher has written the main concepts and then has analyzed and integrated the main concepts in a concise way. So is that the case? Thirdly, has the issue or the topic under consideration been clearly defined and delimited? Clear definition, clear explanation, and also delimitation of the main concepts or topics being explored in the research report is also extremely important. And so it is the research critic will look at this aspect of the report as well in order to decide whether it is a strong introduction or background or not. Then the second part, the rationale and or significance. So generally these are two sections. There is a rationale section and there is a significance section. But generally the aim of both of these is actually to establish the reason for conducting the research and the importance of conducting the particular research. So has a rationale for conducting the study been laid out clearly? So in other words, has the process of the conduct of or the conduct of the research been rationalized? Has a clear research gap been presented and analyzed? Has it been established that the conduct of the study will lead to significant knowledge contribution in the field? So if this is the case, that will actually mean that the research is a strong research. On the other hand, if the rationale, the answers to the questions related to the rationale and significance are in negative, that will actually mean that the research is based on weak foundations, rationalizations, and there will be questions regarding its importance as well. The next important section of the introductory part is the problem statement or purpose statement. Now, the problem statement is actually a section where the issue or the topic or the problem is clearly defined and with precise background and with a brief introduction of the gap. So this is an important part of the introduction of the introductory section. So here the research critic will ask these questions. Has the research topic or issue or problem been clearly and concisely articulated? This is very important, concise, clear and correct articulation of the research problem. If that is not the case, that actually means there is issue. Secondly, is the problem statement representative of the research topic and the main research questions? In many cases, the problem statement is not clearly, succinctly, and correctly written, and as a result, it does not represent the research topic or the research questions, and so that can be an issue with the research report. And lastly, the research questions, hypotheses, and objectives. Research questions, research hypotheses, and research objectives are important aspects of research report. These are the sections that actually give clear direction to the process and the product of research. So it is important that these sections are clearly reported. And so the research critic will be asking the following questions. Are research questions or hypotheses and objectives presented in clear, correct, and concise language? Secondly, are research questions, hypotheses, and objectives representative of the research topic? So if in many cases, especially student researchers, make this mistake that their research questions or hypotheses or research objectives are ambiguous, they are in some cases repetitive, and in other cases they are not truly representing the research topic, they go be outside the scope of the research topic, and so that can be an issue of concern for the critic. And lastly, are research questions, hypotheses, objectives explorable, testable, and achievable in the context of the particular study? In some cases, the research questions are quite broad, the hypotheses are not clearly presented, the objectives are quite broad, or like they are not in line with the focus of the research topic. So these can that can actually lead to an issue of the link between the topic and the research questions. And so the research critique will be asking these questions in order to focus, in order to ask about and to locate the focus of the research study. So these are some of the important questions that the research critic will ask in response to their research critique of the introduction section or the chapter 1, and therefore researchers, especially student researchers, need to have clear answers to these questions in these subsections of the introductory section or the introductory chapter of their thesis or research papers.